What's up, my friends? I'm not going to drop the camera, I promise. I am between podcasts today. About to do a podcast with True Kava and thought I'd catch a little bit of sun. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, man, it has been crazy gray like a February. And it's just been driving me crazy. We finally got proper weather. Look at that. Yeah, that's my backyard. It's pretty amazing. And so I'm sitting here and I did something a little bit nuts. Wait, did I just say that out loud? Oh my God, I did. So I've been using this peptide. It's called MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, for quite a while. It's something that gets messed up from toxic mold. And if you read a little bit in Superhuman, but if you read Headstrong, I go really deep into what's going on here. This is a compound that your body makes, and it causes you to secrete melanin. And melanin has a superpower that's really almost no one knows about, even in modern neuroscience. And it's that when you have this melanin inside your eyes or inside your brain, they used to call it junk melanin, it actually works like a capacitor. It lets you make extra electrons in your brain. And so I take stuff to increase that level. And one of the ways you can get natural skin protection, if you have light skin like me, Northern European background, MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. It's oftentimes called melanotan, and it's a peptide, a small sequence of amino acids. It's part of the anti-aging stuff that I do write about in Superhuman. So if you guys want like the full chapter on that, get Superhuman. That's on Amazon. And what you're going to do is, if you were decided to do that stuff, you inject a very small amount and then you get tan like in a day or two. It's ridiculous. You're in the sun for a half hour. So I have this like pretty decent tan here, but it doesn't take a lot of sun. And now once you have a tan, you are now protected from sun. If you want to increase your ability to make a tan, you need to eat more melanoids. What's a melanoid? Well, it's polyphenols that are cross-linked. Guess what's full of melanoids? I love that word. It's coffee is full of melanoids. So you can have coffee or tea, and Apple Jacks and melanotan make the world brown again. So if you've been stuck inside, you're like, I just want a healthy tan. You don't want to get too much sun because it actually will age your skin. But you don't want to get no sun because a little bit of UV increases the thickness of your skin, and it's good for you. And there's this amazing sunscreen I'm going to recommend that you pay attention to. It's right here. It's called Hat. So I'm keeping my face from getting all wrinkled, but honestly, if I get, wrinkled, pecs here when I'm 140 or something like that, by then we'll have some laser or some kind of stem cell concoction. I'll be all right. But in the meantime, I'm whole body systemically improving my melanin levels. Thanks, Hiren. I appreciate the comments about looking great. I feel like I've been able to do some fasting. By the way, I am fasting all day today. Happy herbal. Yeah, I want brown skin. Are you kidding? Brown skin's a superpower. It really is. It makes you more resilient. That's why we call it a healthy tan throughout all of history, except for when people started to get pasty white in like the 80s and 90s because everyone got afraid of stuff. Carlos, go to the ig-dave-asprey.com webpage to answer your question about alcohol. And I have an alcohol infographic on there that tells you which alcohol to drink to get what effect. But basically, beer and wine, your liver and kidneys do the work of detoxing. They're inflammatory. Sorry, I wish that wasn't true. The distilled stuff, you still have to get rid of the alcohol, but all the other crap that comes in with yeast fermentation is already taken out by fermentation. So you get less inflammation when you do those things. Tuloria, or let's say Tulio, can you pass 1 week nothing, drink coffee? I don't know what that means. What's the name? The name of that thing is called melanotan. And if you are interested in peptides, there's a couple episodes that are really, really good on Bulletproof Radio. Just search for Peptides and Bulletproof Radio on Google or your favorite search engine. Mine, by the way, is DuckDuckGo because I actually get the results I want instead of a bunch of advertising crap and then, Reader's Digest level health stuff. I actually found I couldn't do biohacking anymore if I relied on Google. So I've switched. Oh, and by the way, guys, there's stuff I can't post anymore because if you post it, it automatically just destroys your search engine rankings. And it also means that if you put on social media, they just stop sending people to your page. So if you don't follow a certain narrative, so go to daveasprey.com/uncensored. And I just email you the stuff that I'm not allowed to say anymore because it would be a problem. So that's there for you if you guys want to get it. Okay, D purple. This is interesting. And guys, I have like 8 minutes for my next podcast, so I'm going to wrap this up in like the next 5. Taking vitamin E every day to protect from burning. You know, if you're going to do it, there's something called gamma E, which has gamma and delta tocotrienols and tocopherols. Synthetic vitamin E is not going to be helpful for you. In fact, it's not even good for you. And if you were to take the amazing... let's see, what do I call that stuff? Eye armor that I put together for Bulletproof. That stuff is full of something called astaxanthin. If I take like 4 of those things, I really don't get a burn. It takes a lot to get a sunburn there. So you can protect yourself with some plant compounds. And I'm not saying they'll prevent a sunburn or anything like that. They just help your skin to deal with excess light and radiation. Allie, what's the sunscreen? Hats. Hats and shirts are the best sunscreen ever. Most sunscreen that you rub on your skin is going to actually absorb into your blood. And if you're going to use sunscreen, I'm a big fan of zinc oxide, whether it's micronized or not, followed probably by titanium dioxide, which may have some problems. And the old stuff, PABA, which everyone worried about. PABA is a B vitamin. That stuff is just fine, but it's not easy to find. Siang Sullivan says, can I talk about dual in-back? Does it work? All right, you have to read my book, Game Changers. I'm going to read 500, of the biggest, smartest, master level people I could find, Nobel Prize winners, distilled 46 laws, 52, I'm forgetting the number right now, that people agreed on that make you perform better. So it wasn't just what I thought, but it was actually statistically valid from all of these questions I asked people over the years. And I write about enhancing your brain, how that's a habit that the world's best people throughout history have. And dual in-back training raised my IQ by 12 points. And there's actually a reference for one of the best apps that's in Game Changers. That's like worth 5 minutes of your time actually, it's probably like 5 hours of your time to listen to it. Hey, Paul from Germany, from Munich. That's cool. Oh, Health for Heroes. Which podcast do I talk about SARMs? Probably the best one. There's on the ig-dave-asprey.com page, if you search for SARMs, there's a whole post talking about when I put on 29 pounds of muscle in about 6 weeks without changing my diet or exercise. It was stupidly effective, and I actually got injured as a result of that. My muscles got so strong so quickly that your skeletal system has to catch up. So you have to be really careful if you do that. Challenge the status quo. Is the Kerry butter I use pasteurized? Yeah. It turns out pasteurizing proteins is a major issue. Pasteurizing fat, or things that are mostly fat, is much less of an issue as long as the fat is pasteurized in a way that doesn't oxidize it. So there's not a problem with pasteurizing butter, or specifically the other stuff. Butter or ghee. All right. Is allulose safe? Probably. There's actually some very interesting new studies about allulose. Allulose is a thing like xylitol or erythritol, but a newer one that seems to be good for your metabolism. How long would I do SARMs for? Read the post on ig-dave-asprey.com, and I talk about cycling and how would you stack them and things like that. It'd be worth doing a little bit of research on that. So basically the answer is which SARM. My favorite one is GW501516. And that stuff is legitimate. It increases mitochondrial density. It's an exercise mimetic, much like nicotine, because they both raise something called PGC1 alpha. Now, if you're going, what the hell did Dave just say? I sound like I just started talking like Neo from the Matrix or something. GW501516. Just Google Dave Asprey SARMs, blah, blah, blah. You'll find it. And that stuff is really good for you. I'm fully convinced. There are some concerns at exceptionally high doses around cancer, but if you're doing anti-cancer things at the same time, I think the risk-reward is there. All right. And I am about 4 minutes away from starting a podcast with Cameron from a company called True Kava. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to talk about kava as a relaxing thing. Oh, Joe, a solution for Tourette's. You know what? There's a lot going on in the brain for increasing mitochondrial function, which helps almost anything going on in the brain. And Tourette's is related even to stuttering. I did used to stutter when I was younger, and I was really self-conscious about it. And sometimes it's just about being able to make enough voltage and keep it up. So brain octane oil, and by the way, I'm not talking about how to cure Tourette's. I'm talking about how to get energy into your brain so your brain can do what it's supposed to do. Just to be really clear, there's nothing medical, there's no diagnostic, nothing here. This is more energy in the brain to see how your brain responds. And brain octane oil and bulletproof coffee, many people on ADHD, even meds, have been like, dude, I just feel like I don't need my meds anymore. Like, my brain just works. So for me, bulletproof coffee, I also had ADHD. In fact, Asperger's is where I started out. That stuff, it really helps. And something called Keto Prime has been one of my favorite supplements. I put it out there like 6-7 years ago. It primes the pump, so the cells in your brain, including your neurons, all of your mitochondria, can more effectively use fat or sugar for energy. And see if that combination just pumps up your energy level. And you're like, hey, maybe I stutter less. So not at all a cure. It's just about, like, make the brain have more energy. Julie, coffee and caffeine isn't good for you. It thickens the blood and dehydrates. If this was true, why are there dozens of studies now showing that coffee reduces death from pretty much all-cause mortality? Why are there studies showing it reduces cardiovascular risk? In fact, Google any medical condition you can find and coffee and see what you find. And what you'll find is, the benefits far outweigh the potential risks. In terms of dehydration, caffeine is an exceptionally weak diuretic. In fact, it's almost not measurable, but coffee with mold in it, the mold that grows in coffee called OTA, the stuff that I pioneered getting out, that's not in the Bulletproof beans because of our lab testing. At least it's not in there at measurable levels, and our test standards are very, very strict, way higher than European levels. OTA attacks the bladder and kidneys. So they're going to be dehydrated because the body's like, I got to dilute this stuff. Let me pull stuff out of plasma. So is it caffeine that's bad, or is it moldy coffee that's bad? Interesting. You got to separate those things out. Anything to boost creativity from Gavin. You're using lion's mane and rhodiola. The lion's mane from my friends at Life Cycle, Lifecykel, it's an Australian strain. It's a different kind of mushroom than the normal lion's mane. I have had profound results on my creativity. It's doubled or sometimes tripled my dreaming sleep. Lifecykel, the liquid extract is the one that has the most effect. There's also something called Neuromaster, which I formulate for Bulletproof, which comes from the fruit of coffee, nothing to do with coffee beans and caffeine and all that stuff, that increases brain-derived nootropic factor, BDNF, by about 4 times more than exercise. Now, my friends, I would love to answer some more things. Would eye armor help dry eyes? Probably not, but there's an herb called Eye Bright that would. Eye armor has helped my vision. I mean, I have exceptionally flexible eyes. I'm 20/15 in both eyes. It's amazing. And that's good stuff. Oh man, HVE machine recommendations on diet during basic training in the military. Don't eat the shit they give you, except they're going to kind of make you. I would be doing collagen bars and brain octane anytime you get a chance, just so you can rebuild the cartilage that you're gonna tweak all that stuff. All right, my friends, I got to go do a podcast with True Kava. It's going to be a really good one because if you know about kava, it's a very interesting thing that probably deserves a seat up there next to coffee and nicotine as one of Mother Nature's original cognitive enhancers. And certainly at least at the level of cannabis, which may or may not be a cognitive enhancer depending on your brain. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. I apologize for the terrible lighting on my face, but my sunscreen was highly effective, SPF 10,000. Have a beautiful day. Go to daveasprey.com/uncensored so I can send you the stuff that I kind of told you here, but there's stuff you want to know that I am just not putting on the blog anymore. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for reading my books, and thanks for just paying attention and taking anything you can do today that helps you step up a little bit, do one tiny thing to be a better human being, and it'll pay off doubly during the pandemic. See you later.